Hey, I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Give this video a like.
We have a podcast in the description as well. Subscribe to that.
We are sponsored by Tito's Handmade Vodka.
Yep, based in Austin, Texas, American-made, #1 vodka in America, Tito's.
Thoughts on this Big Ten, Pac-12, ACC alliance, John? I see they announced it on Thursday, Tuesday. The commissioners, there's not a formal contract, and so people are wondering well, if you're not going to put anything in writing, then what is this exactly? And I think what's interesting about it is I think it's as much as it is a response to Oklahoma and Texas leaving the Big 12 for the SEC. I think it's also a response to there was this thing that happened a few months ago where four members of college football put together a college football playoff proposal for a 12-team proposal, and everyone started running with it. And what it turned out, the four people that put that proposal together, none of them were from the ACC, the Big Ten, or the Pac-12. It was Jack Swarbrick, who's the commissioner or the athletics director at Notre Dame, Craig Thompson, the Mountain West commissioner, Greg Sankey from the SEC, Bob Bowlesby from the Big 12. And I think it's partly a response to that, too. These guys want to make sure that it benefits us to not do anything behind each other. I'll tell you what I'm up to if you tell me what you're up to. Because we don't want to have happen to any one of us what happened to the Big 12, where Bob Bowlesby got blindsided. And we don't want to have happen to any of us what just happened a few months ago where this college football playoff proposal came out. None of us had seen it because we weren't involved in it. And all of a sudden, publicly, there was this big push let's go. Let's get this 12-team playoff. Let's get it rolling by the end of the year. And they're like, this is all news to us. So there have been a couple of things where news has broken pretty quickly this offseason that has caught a few people off guard. That was a little less off guard, but I don't think the football playoff thing was supposed to leak the way it did. And certainly Texas, Oklahoma was not supposed to leak. This alliance, two things have to happen since there's nothing in a contract right now. Two things have to happen for the Big Ten, ACC, and Pac-12 to make this work. I think one is that all three of these commissioners have to remain the commissioners of these leagues and have really good working relationships, trust each other enough that they tell each other, hey, man, here's what we're up to. Maybe we could fold you into this, right? And they don't owe each other anything that they owe their own league, but that they have really good working relationships. Relationships get things done. And then the other thing that has to happen, I think, for this to work is that they keep in their individual leagues their most important clients happy. That Ohio State and Michigan, that Clemson, that USC, that those programs don't suddenly tell any of them, hey, we out. Right, that Ohio State, because if Ohio State goes, see you guys, we're going to the SEC, there's not a damn thing the commissioner of a league, let alone an alliance, can do about it. And so they have to keep everything straight in their own homes. That's part one, and they got to work together on stuff. And there's no obligation, contractual at this point for them to do that. So it's a relationship thing.
My question in the alliance, besides playing each other in non-conference games, what else is part of it?
Well, I think part of it is going to be some of this playoff stuff. It's let's all kind of agree, what do we think makes sense for everybody? Now, I think they'll end up.
You're saying automatic bids and different things like that?
Yeah, let's just.
The way you vote on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think, the ACC's TV contract is not up till 2036.
Jesus.
But the Big Ten's is coming up in a couple of years, and the Pac-12's is up in 2 or 3 years as well, one year after the Big Ten's. I think 2023 and 2024. So maybe they can help each other out with just enhancing their own non-conference schedules.
I've said all along, why couldn't you do? I guess because they don't all play the same amount of games. But if you have 3 non-conference games, why can't 2 of them be mandated in the alliance?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, I'll only do it if you'll do it. Well, okay, I'll only do it if he does it. Okay, well, he'll only do it if you do it. When. You know this, any conversation about college football the last 20 years, back to the BCS era, at some point somebody says, you know what the sport needs? A commissioner. It's yeah, that's great in theory, but, the commissioner works for the leagues. Roger Goodell works for the teams. Roger Goodell doesn't tell the teams what to do. He doesn't tell Robert Kraft what to do. So it's great if we all agree, if a commissioner says you guys all need to play 8 conference games or 9 conference games or have all these good games. John, let's tell the people about DraftKings. Download the app, use the promo code HAM, and try the instant win challenge from DraftKings. Wild cards, you're shot at up to $50 million in prizes.
What about our friends at Manscaped.com, the best ball trimmer on the market? Promo code HAM gets you 20% off and free shipping.
But if the SEC isn't going to do it, well, then if the SEC is not going to do it, I'm not going to do it. Well, if they're not going to do it, so nobody agrees on anything. But if we agree, okay, we'll go from 9 conference games down to 8, but we'll add 2 really good non-conference games on top. So we add a good date. The reason nobody wants to go, the people who have 9, like the Big Ten and the Pac-12, don't want to go to 8, which is what the SEC does, which makes it easier for you to go unbeaten. Because when you do that, you devalue your TV contract because now you're putting worse games on TV when you go from 9 conference games to 8 because you're picking up Southern Utah, all due respect.
Yeah.
And it's a worse product for your fans who have season tickets.
Cal Poly, we fall under that.
It's a worse product for your fans who have paid for season tickets. Like you are. It's really hard right now to get people to come to games because the at-home experience is really good. So you don't want to make your in-stadium experience worse.
I think most of the fans can live with Cal Nevada, right? Fresno State, UCLA, like that works.
Yeah,
that has to be your worst game.
Yeah, your group of 5.
It just does.
No FCS.
The moment you jump down
for FCS schools.
Yeah, but it's just like they just should play each other. Cal Poly, UC Davis should play the shit out of each other.
So, that's part of what this is. It's like, okay, we'll go from 9 conference games to 8, but now instead of picking up an FCS game, it's going to be Oregon State's going to play Syracuse and Pitt.
Yeah, and Oregon plays Ohio State and North Carolina, which is cool, which would work.
Yeah,
but it's not in writing.
No, so the scheduling part. I mean, ultimately, you schedule those games. So maybe you do if you all schedule them together, then now it's in writing because you make contracts for all those games.
But he's right. Like the commissioners can push their guys, but eventually the ADs have to do it, right? It's some of the stuff is out of their control.
Yeah.
Who schedules games? Presidents, ADs?
The ADs schedule the games, but the presidents ultimately are the ones that make the big decisions.
So you're saying if the presidents tell their ADs that they have to schedule games with these conferences?
Yeah, I mean that might be one. Sorry, I interrupted and said the presidents. I thought you were making a different point. Yeah, when it comes
because
to
that's the only thing that it's going to affect any. Like I want to see, and we already kind of do, but I would love to see a schedule where it's like all these teams are playing each other. It still feels like a little far away because I did see one of the quotes was, obviously we're going to stick by all the existing schedules, and anyone that follows, if you have a college football team, sometimes you're 7-8 years out, right? Like, Fresno State knows their non-conference in like 2027.
I think somebody has a 2036 game. It might be Utah and Florida.
Was that an old Urban Meyer thing?
Yeah, they scheduled it in 1998, 2002. No, that one was just scheduled 2033 maybe. Let's see. Wisconsin is scheduled for September 10th, 2033. They'll be
against
Utah. At Utah. So, just for reference, the year is currently 2021.
2030?
3.
Is there any chance Whittingham's the coach in 2033?
No.
I mean, hell, we're not guaranteed to be alive. So, I mean, that's a long way away.
2033.
A lot happens.
So
I hope I am.
They already got their Big Ten game for that year, John. You got to fold that one in.